Hello America. In the previous video, number 3, how lead poisoning spreads from shooting guns, we identified the government recognized the gases and particulate matter, or dust, produced by guns was breathed in, deposited on the hair, skin, and clothing of the shooter and those around them, and spread throughout the surrounding environment into personal vehicles, homes, and the family laundry, poisoning the family and loved ones of those engaged in shooting guns. It recognized that once in the carpeting of the home or vehicles, lead could not be removed by vacuuming. It would only disperse it into the air to be breathed in or settle on surfaces throughout the home or vehicle. It recognized a lot more, confirming that those not present or who have ever touched a gun would continue to be poisoned by the spreading of this toxic matter throughout the environment. The government also recognized symptoms of lead poisoning that were a result of that contamination. They recognized that other diagnoses were incorrectly rendered due to a lack of lead blood testing. We have identified the lead poisoning symptoms the government acknowledged up through 1999 are also recognized as PTSD, autism, and ADHD when lead is not present. All of this will be brought together in later videos. In today's video, we're going to provide evidence the government has recognized the hazard of not just lead, but many more toxic compounds produced by firearms since the year 2000. These compounds are recognized by the EPA and Army reports as gas, vapor, dust, and particulate matter. Due to the lack of credible data concerning emissions from ordnance, bullets, and explosives, the U.S. Army Environmental Center established a program to quantify emissions from everything from .22 long rifle bullets through 120 millimeter big guns. Funded by the U.S. Army Environmental Center and prepared by MACTEC federal programs, tests captured the gases and chemical compounds that were produced and ejected out of the end of gun barrels when firing weapons and expending ordnance. I found this information published by the EPA. Want to know what's in these reports? Tests began at the U.S. Army's Aberdeen and Dugway Proving Grounds sometime around March of 2000. They tested small arms, minor caliber weapons, and artillery through 120 millimeter used in Army and Marine Corps tanks. The test documents soldiers, sailors, Marines, law enforcement, and civilians exposed to more than just lead poisoning. The test documented over 40 additional toxic compounds produced when firing weapons. Some of these compounds are recognized and banned by the World Health Organization. Over 35 are recognized by the EPA as reportable and must be tracked under the EPA EPR 313 Emergency Planning and Community Right to Know Act and is a hazardous air pollutant under Section 112 of the Clean Air Act amendments. Those numbers are not final, as I have yet to review every one of those documents and continue to add to the list. As an example, the EPA report lists 45 rounds of 9mm ball ammunition were fired, producing 47 toxic compounds and contaminating over 221 cubic feet of air with particulate matter, settling on all affected surfaces. Keep in mind that ejected particulate matter settles on everything, to include the shooter, just like the Navy said in its 1999 report. Think I was safe at age 7 shooting my .22 caliber rifle? In August 2000, they tested 22 ball ammunition, listing 28 toxic compounds contaminating over 247 cubic feet of air. An AR-15 shooting .556 rifle ammunition contains 47 toxic compounds and contaminates over 529 cubic feet of air. A 12-gauge shotgun produces 33. Now, I'm no scientist. I just looked at the report and counted the ones listed as toxic and noted as a reportable chemical. Why do you think the Army was testing ammunition for toxic compounds produced by guns in 2000? What did the Army, EPA, and Department of Defense do with the information they had from the tests they conducted? Did they take immediate action to stop poisoning our troops and civilians? Do you think it is still okay to take your child to a gun range or turn him loose with his own .22 rifle or shotgun at age 9? How about you out there participating in 3-gun competitions? What about the kids engaged in the sport? What about children or those under 21 whose brains are still developing? We ban cigarettes and alcohol because of it. How about the secondhand poisoning from these compounds spread into the vehicle and homes of those engaged in shooting sports? Feel betrayed yet that the government knew about this and didn't do anything to stop us from being poisoned? Wait till I reveal to you what the hazards are when firing the beloved AR-15 assault rifle and other firearms in later videos. That's not all. It gets much worse. Check out some of the symptoms these compounds produce. Acetonitril. Toxicity symptoms include breathing difficulty, slow pulse rate, nausea, and vomiting. Convulsions and coma can occur in serious cases, followed by death from respiratory failure. The treatment is for cyanide poisoning. Benzoapyrene. Toxicity symptoms include cancer-causing, lowers testosterone and sperm production, known to affect learning and memory in lab rats. Pregnant rats eating BAP were shown to negatively affect the brain function in the late life of their offspring. Copper. Toxicity symptoms include increasing fatigue, racing mind, and brain fog. At higher levels, the risk increases for adrenal burnout, depression, paranoia, and deadening of emotions. Hypothyroid, panic attacks, Alzheimer's, schizophrenia, and even cancer can all be linked to copper toxicity. Naphthalene. The World Health Organization concluded that naphthalene is possibly carcinogenic to humans. The US EPA classified naphthalene as a possible human carcinogen. Toluene. Toxicity symptoms include fatigue, sleepiness, headaches, nausea, depression, attention deficits, and birth defects in the children of pregnant women exposed to high levels of toluene or mixed solvents by inhalation. Do these symptoms sound familiar? They are also lead poisoning, PTSD, autism, and ADHD symptoms. Have I established for you yet the government's liability and responsibility for failing to stop our poisoning with lead and the other toxic compounds produced by firearms? I was in the Navy in 2000, went through multiple weapons training and certification schools, and never once was briefed, trained, or notified in any way about the recognized hazards of these toxic compounds. Had I known this, I could have taken action to prevent my poisoning, my family's, thousands of my fellow sailors and their families, as well as every other person I am responsible for poisoning over my 29-year career. President Trump, you are the Chief Executive Officer and Commander-in-Chief over the EPA, Department of Defense, Department of the Navy, and Department of the Army. You were appointed the current department heads. They're yours. You weren't the president in 1999 and 2000, but you are today. What are you going to do about this? I have been giving you this information since September 2017. Find out what President Trump and his subordinates have done to address these issues and illegal activity to cover up our poisoning. 17 September. In the next video, we will examine a 2012 Department of Defense document recognizing that range workers like me were being poisoned and they did nothing about it. See a trend yet? Please keep in mind that the documents I have revealed to you represent only a few of the ones I have in my possession and that I continue to acquire. Together, we can stop lead poisoning. Keep watching YouTube and Twitter for upcoming videos. Thank you.